start this. And don't accidentally hit end stream. And fingers crossed that things ever... Hey! So I didn't rehearse any of this, so... This is gonna be interesting. I did like 90% of this portion on like no sleep, because both days that I worked on it, I was doing it at like midnight onward. But as everything else starts with, we must start with the why. Obviously, people like having a face to actually associate with a voice. I mean, there's a little Nasu down here, but you know, I wanted a little bit more personal touch. Inspirations and friends. Mark decided a bit ago that he was gonna work on a Vtuber avatar of his own, and between several VTubers that I watch being due to them working on their own avatars, I decided, I'm like, it'd be interesting to wind up doing. So I decided to make my own. That also plays into the next one. It seemed interesting to do. And it was probably one of the more engaging things that I've done in quite some time, if I'm to be honest. As is evident from anyone that's actually been keeping track since I started. And it added more skills to the tool belt. I'm no expert at it obviously yet, but it's pretty easy to get into, even if it's got a very high ceiling I can see. Also, I forgot that I wrote this, but yeah, possible collabs. There's a few VTubers that I could even see possibly collabing with in the future. And honestly, in the few times that I've mentioned that I was doing this, apparently VTubers on Twitter really like their collabs and whatnot, and both retweeted and followed consider like a surprising number. Creator. Me. I worked on this over the course of a few weeks between different aspects of it, between the drawing, the rigging, the redrawing, or well, expanded drawing, the re-rigging, which was actually in the end almost completely from the ground up with the re-rigging, because expanded textures don't play too nicely, apparently, which is why the next expansion is going to be from the ground up, most likely, because I don't want to have to... The amount of work is effectively going to be the same regardless of if I go ground up or if I toss in the new textures and effectively have to go ground up anyway. The save time is negligible, if existing at all. But most of my inspirations, Kisa, the next one is actually the inspirations. Kisa, Juniper, Daya. Kisa's probably one of the ones that most people that I know don't know too terribly well, because I know her through Wolsk, who got some commissions from Abba, who is friends with Kisa, and Abba hasn't done a whole lot recently, but I've talked with Kisa quite a bit, so Kisa being ground up. She doesn't do her own rigging, but she does all of her own art for her models. Juniper does, as 90% of her clips would show, she's full on from the basic sketch all the way through to the end of the rigging, all in-house. She was the one that kind of was the big inspiration for me learning the rigging on top of just drawing it out. Also because rigging is expensive and I'm broke, so this wasn't going to happen if I had to go out of house for it. And Daya. Daya also does full-on from sketch to rigging herself. She also does commissions for other people, which is most of the streams I've seen. I don't think I've seen her actually work on one of her own models before, but she has done quite a few rigging streams as well. What is the next slide? I don't remember if this was planned to be... Okay, this is the one. So, I suppose that if any time is a time to actually give an explanation on who Nasu is and how he came to be in the first place, it is during a debut. I know, surprising. Characters having lore and the like. Effectively he started as an OC for a friend's fanfic that he was doing for the series RWBY. Exactly the same year that all of us basically fell off the show because of, you know what, I've gone on my rant about RWBY once this week already. I don't need to do it again. But he gradually evolved over the years. He's kind of still got the same template as far as the paler skin, white hair, purple eyes. But several things have been added, several things have been removed. His scythe now has a new design to it. He's obviously didn't start off with the cybernetic legs, even though those would have technically fit his original character thing, considering where he was from in the thing. He now is a native to Syncope instead of... I don't remember what the planet is called in RWBY. Obviously, Syncope is a whole other can of worms that will have to be explained later. Partly because 90% of Syncope's lore right now is for the D&D setting, not for the more modern Syncope that Nasu lives in. Even though the desert is kind of... Either way. But he's kind of become a sort of persona of me, in a way, I suppose. My mascot, my sort of connection to the cyber world, or whatever you want to call it. And as we're all here to actually see, he is now... Please don't scuff out. Oh, he's kind of scuffed out. Yep, that's scuffed out. Please? There we go. Had a feeling it was going to scuff out. But he's alive now. Even though my camera isn't the best for tracking. Also, I forgot to mention this when I was going through the thing, and the tracking is still not exactly connecting my hand. I'm partly wondering if it's detecting my facial hair and thinking that that's my mouth being open. But he's alive now. And since I didn't pay for the DLC, we have a little watermark thing down here. Also, part of the 2 weeks that was 2 or 3 weeks. I kind of lost track of time because of a lot of the stuff that was going on. Was also putting in different background stuff. It started off with just the 3 posters here, and the shelf, which had this single flask, the Fland grenade, the infamous, that has never actually been used in any of my D&D games. But I figured showing off some of my art in the background would have been a good thing to do. And then I decided, I'm like, you know what, I need to kind of fill in this a little bit more because it's kind of barren. And from there I was like, well, I've got Pigeon up here already. And I'm like, so I decided, well, we'll just scatter along friends and inspirations here. Not all of them are here, obviously, but this also kind of falls in under things that I like. Mark decided on the Zelda fish from Wind Waker. Ice Cream's got Monster Hunter. And we got Fumo of Moko back here. That's Narp. We obviously got Yakuza, which, using the peak, is Froob. Up here's kind of a Easter egg that's a sort of inside joke. I mean, everyone knows the cat bag. Again, this is got Toho, and it's also something that I worked on for Pigeon, so it fits the friend thing. The only thing that's not 100% either original or a direct inspiration is the Mechanicus thing here. I kind of did some editing on it, but the outline itself is not directly mine. Got the Kisa emblem here. Crows thing. Seraph's thing. Ashes. Prism. Cube. Prisms are triangular. I don't actually know what the term is for a square one. I got Suki down here. And if I let me try and figure out how this part works. Hopefully this doesn't scuff it out completely. It didn't scuff it out. However, my eyes are not... Oh, there's little me down there. Okay. So, now we get the fun part of... Not that. Transparent and capture. And if we bring this back up, there we go. Tiny little me. Even though my calibration's still a bit off. I think it has to do with how far off my second monitor actually is from everything else as to why the calibration is off. I still need to readjust my desk a bit. But the About Me, which is going to be a bit, obviously, because, I mean, I'm not doxing myself here. Sorry, VOD viewers that were hoping for a doxing. But I'm Nasu. I'm 24. That's already available on my Twitter. That's kind of how I remember. I remember what my birthday is, and then I move the Twitter thing. If I forget about it, I guess that I'm going to forget how old I am one of these days. Man, would I be so lucky. Because, honestly, after 21, there's not really a whole lot to keep track of it for. I mean, all the major milestones. I guess at 25 in the US, you get better car insurance, but, I mean, But I was born on February 2nd, and I actually don't know my height. It changes so bloody often because of the way that my spine curves, that it can be near 6 foot, or I could be freaking 5'8". It's honestly a mystery. It might even be the fact that I've never gotten 2 tape measures that are the exact same length. I don't know. I just estimate around 5'9", because it seems to be somewhere around the average, somewhere around the most common. I don't remember what this is. So I guess this is the part where we're gonna all learn together. Also, I need to... Oh, yeah. Apparently, while I was doing research for this, I apparently started streaming in 2016. Way back when. I have no idea what I streamed. I think it was probably a scuffed 10-second stream of, like, Crusader Kings 2 or something with friends. They were very sparse due to horrid internet until, like, 2019, where I found a few streamlined things that actually allowed me to sort of stream a bit better. It wasn't perfect, and it didn't last long because everyone's favorite viral outbreak happened in 2020, and my ISP completely decided that they were going to take the opportunity to never have to actually do their jobs. I spent all of 2020 with the approximate upload of 0.01 and the approximate download of 0.001. I outright had no internet for like 3 months. That's also around the time that I learned the speedrun for I Divine Cybermancy, which is why it's no longer eligible for the 12-hour challenge, because I have a head start. That kind of defeats the purpose of the challenge. But around, I think it was September, they finally, after like 9 months of me constantly yelling at them and everyone on my road threatening a class action lawsuit because they had all gotten the flyers for it, they finally decided, okay, those boxes that we set up 3 years ago, we're finally going to actually connect them to your house so that you can actually use the fiber that we've been paying to maintain, but don't actually have. My internet bill went up by exactly $1. My internet quality went up by over 1,000%. So I'm both happy and very miffed about that, considering how long I should have been able to get fiber, according to their very own technicians. Oh, well, yeah, I got a little head start on the next bullet point, I guess. Around Christmas of 2020, I wound up doing a lot more stuff with family and whatnot, and wound up getting, between Yakuza, Payday, and one other thing that I can't remember, got enough of the requirements to reach affiliate, well, today in 2021. Which is why this is also the affiliate anniversary. I decided that apparently April 24th was the day that everything had to be. Because I think that people do debut anniversaries as well. It's going to be easy for me, I guess, but it's also going to be extremely busy as far as trying to inform, like, what all is being covered in a single day. It's kind of weird that these 3 months are basically covered by one major thing every month. Luckily, my first ever stream I don't exactly mark as a day that I need to do anything special. I'll still mark it normally with an art stream because I'm relaxing between the two of things. But thanks to actually having good internet, the completion project actually got off the ground because I could actually stream more than just art and strategy games without the bitrate and without the pixels being countable on your hands. Made a custom animation. He's over there. We all know him. Multiple personalizations. This has happened over a lot of it. Emotes all by me. Animation obviously by me. Got a technical difficulty screen, which is brand new, that I think I've used exactly once since then because I made it during aforementioned anniversary of first stream for this year, I believe. Oh. Apparently that's marked as part of the paragraph or something. So I guess we're going through likes and dislikes now. I thought that I had something between these, but okay. Music, I mean, who doesn't? It fills the void of noise when you're wandering through very quiet games like Kenshi, and also covers the noise of your pen scraping your tablet while you're doing art. Which, until I got a boom arm, was a very big issue because I had to have my gain pretty much maxed out in order for anyone to hear me. Games. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, of course, the completion project exists for a reason. Cats. I have, like, 11. One of which is in my house currently, and most of which are both inside-outside cats. And I'm surprised hasn't decided that this is the time that she wants attention, because it's always when I'm doing something that she decides she wants attention. Probably because it's not 900 degrees for once. Merch. I have an entire box in my room full of posters, and I've several calendars, and I have an entire drawer in my closet dedicated to merch-related shirts from different artists that I like. That also includes figurines and whatnot. I have a display case full of different things. Little Neko Parachibis, multiple cups. I need an entire... effectively, with the number of cups I have, I need an entire display case just for them. Art. Don't know if you could tell. You know. Monster Girls. There's a lot of variety to them, and I like interesting designs, and they fit both of those parameters, and apparently you can't see it because I'm covering it, but apparently there's a freaking little thing down here that does allow me to move slides independently. Tabletop. I'm covering this now. Grab me, not grab the back. As I've mentioned with Syncope, I run a game. I'm part of a game. Part of Soulbound, which is currently being kind of altered between Soulbound and Deathwatch. We had our first game of Deathwatch today. I have never actually been the player of a D&D game. I have like 4 characters because I've created characters and then the games got canceled for one reason or another. But I've never actually been a player in a D&D game. I've been a player of multiple other systems though. I've played GURPS, which I absolutely hope that never gets chosen for someone actually asking for that again. I've played Only War, Death Watch Now, Dark Heresy. All three of those are FFG systems. Soulbound, obviously, as I mentioned. And I've skimmed through several other books, but I haven't actually played the games. Toho. Don't know if you could tell from, the background, the music, those that know Cafe de Toho. Multiple other things. VTubers, yeah. It would be kind of weird to not like them if I was gonna, make one. Dislikes. Modern Country. Oh god, that's a whole can of worms in itself. Older Country is pretty good. Some of it's not my cup of tea, but Modern Country is, in my opinion, all absolute trash. It's all the exact same keywords and just basically buzzwords the genre. Game theory. I have a very long explanation as to why, but long story short, hypocrisy and the basically last nail in the coffin for my opinion on him was when he decided that he was going to take someone else's works, market as something else, and try and get extra views from that, and then got really mad when the creator that he was claiming was the person that made the thing. He got really mad at them. Bot, I'm trying to have a nice time here. Please don't. Chickens, they're loud. My ears ring after every time I deal with them. I suppose that I should specify that it's roosters, not chickens. The girls are fine, even if they are a bit, skittish, and will try and bite at times if they're trying to defend their eggs, but they're fine. Braggarts and liars. Probably pretty self-explanatory. People that brag about stuff, and doubly so if they're lying about the thing that they're bragging about. Kind of annoying. No, I don't believe that you actually are the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company when you're sitting in the middle of a random online chat where you're barely able to even talk to people that you assume are female. Art thieves. We already went over this. But yeah. That's the reason I don't use Instagram anymore. Like a week into Instagram, I constantly kept getting told about the art thieves, and I saw several art thieves that didn't credit, and I haven't used the thing since. Pinterest will also do this. I actually think, yeah, Pinterest and Google reverse image search kind of fits into this. Pinterest, I don't want to actually have to sort through 5 pages of things when the image I clicked on is what I'm after. I'm after reference images. I'm not after everything associated with the least common tag on there. Google reverse image search, semi-related. It is awful, and I'd much rather use Sauce now. But when I can't, I use reverse image search. Problem is that it's normally Twitter that is the culprit in this, and Google reverse image search will send you to 3 different people that retweeted the artwork, and even though it knows it's a retweet, it will not show you the actual person that did it. So I have to sort through 5 pages of the person's tweets and retweets in order to get to the actual image that I'm after. Heat. I like the cold. heat is much harder to actually deal with. I can just toss on a jacket or something in order to avoid the cold. Heat I just have to suffer with. And I live in a very humid area, so the heat's even worse because I can't even sweat it out because the sweat doesn't evaporate. Elitists and invaders. Opposite sides of the same problem. I don't like the fact that some people think that the only way that you're a fan of something is if you use one exact style of something. And I don't like when people come in and speak two dead memes of a thing and then decide that they have the right to complain and demand changes for something that they've been a part of for 5 minutes. Oh, I forgot how much talking dries my throat out. Vtuber clippers. There's only really one in particular. There's a snuffy clipper that likes to just use cropped porn and try and cut off words in ways in order to clickbait you into watching something that is just standard normal. There's probably several others that do this kind of thing, and I know that there are, but that's the one that stands out to me on that. I guess that could have just been clickbait in general, but everyone hates clickbait. This one kind of fit into the keep things themed. The only two that don't really fit that are these two. I mean, I guess Monster Girls can fit onto Pinterest and Google reverse image search, but either way. Games. Strategy. It's been kind of my favorite genre for God knows how long. And city builders. I feel that they kind of fit together. Frostpunk, fantastic game. Probably one of my most played strategy or like city builders. Empire Earth was kind of my childhood. I played countless hours of that, especially on like snow days from school. Rage of Mages, it's an isometric RPG technically, but you can get other units and whatnot. If I can ever figure out how to get the game to get past the title screen, I'll probably play it in the future. I've not figured out how to actually fix that though. I haven't really tried DG Voodoo Wrapper or anything for it. Empire at War. It's Star Wars Empire Earth, effectively. I've played through every campaign on it, and played it on pretty much every difficulty. Fantastic game. Also, kind of part of my childhood, but I didn't play it nearly as much as Empire Earth, because I couldn't get past some levels as a kid. Halo Wars. I haven't finished it. I've gotten about halfway through it, but I was extremely sick at the time that I started it, so it kind of fell on the back burner because I didn't want to play anything for days at that point in time. Stronghold 2. I didn't play the first Stronghold, played Stronghold 2 like mad as a kid. Stellaris. It's got an asterisk because I don't really play it anymore, and I don't really have any intention to return to it. The only way that I could really keep up with it now is if I were to either buy the DLC myself or play with someone that takes the game far too seriously. It's a Paradox game. Those that don't know, Paradox is super infamous for their DLC practices. Effectively, if I want to be able to play the game and not get stomped by the AI, even on their easiest settings, I gotta keep up with the DLC, which I believe is currently 3 times more expensive than the game itself at this point. Dawn of War. Seraph knows the Dawn of War meme. I'm actually gonna be playing that after this, because I found a way to actually get it to work in 1080p, and it's also a less intensive game, so VTube Studio eating up all of my CPU isn't going to be as big of an issue. Tropico. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it's a good city builder. It's got a lot of good comedy to it, and it is got a surprising amount of depth with a lot of the stuff that you can do in it. Kenshi. Played that just 2 days ago. I like the city building aspect to it, and a lot of the more fact that it's a what I'd like to call true to the post-apocalyptic setting. It's not like where I love Fallout and whatnot. The setting in Fallout, people are very much already ingrained in being able to control a lot of the stuff and being able to, like, not have to worry as much. The bandits don't really need to. No, we're not reviewing games. I'm just giving a sort of rundown on and explanation as to why I like things. I don't remember what the other side was. Oh, that's right, action shooters. Devil May Cry. I actually didn't play a Devil May Cry game until, well, Mark, you're right on cue, I guess. Got me to play Devil May Cry 2. It was dry, but passable because I didn't have any experience with it before that. Devil May Cry 1 was good. I wasn't very good at it, and it punished me in a lot of ways, but it was good. Devil May Cry 3, probably the only one that I'd probably revisit more than once from those three. Dishwasher, I also recently played. I've played through the first one like 10 times on the 360. Only the first time I played 2 all the way through recently. Salt and Sanctuary, it fits between Dishwasher and Dark Souls because it's basically if those two had a baby. It's got a lot of feel of Dark Souls, but it's also got especially the further you go in, a lot of the movement and whatnot feels quite close to Dishwasher, even if a little bit more restricted in order to keep the game a bit more punishing. Dark Souls. I've played pretty much every Souls game except for, well, every Souls game up until Bloodborne. I haven't played Sekiro or Elden Ring. I couldn't remember it for a moment. I haven't finished Demon Souls, but I've gotten about halfway through it. Dark Souls 2 is still punishing and still one that I don't exactly feel the need to return to anytime soon, if at all. Vermintide. If you don't know Vermintide, go play it. I actually should play it again because I haven't played it in a bit and I was working on a character. It's still decent, but it overstays its welcome, and it's definitely, if it wasn't tied to Dark Souls, it probably wouldn't hurt as much. Left 4 Dead 2. That was the other game that I was playing a lot back when I mentioned the whole Payday 2 thing. They're kind of tied together. Both shooting hordes of enemies. Payday 2, much more objective-oriented. I have probably one of the most times on Payday 2, right up there with Terraria as far as games that I've played the most. I have no idea which one would be more if I combined my 360 time and my PC time. Yakuza. Probably told this story before, but the first Yakuza game that I had an experience with was actually Yakuza 6. On the Sci-Fi channel, they had a lot of ads for it. I'm like, hey, that looks kind of neat. Oh, it's only PlayStation. And then I forgot about it for like 10 years. And then when they came to PC and I ran into Froob's channel, I saw the games and I'm like, hey, these look like a lot of fun. And then Mark got me Yakuza 0, and it was a lot of fun. I got gifted Yakuza Kiwami by a dude that was friends with me for like a week and then removed me. And it was very confusing, but he gave me Kiwami 1, and I will probably remember him for quite some time because of that. Monster Hunter, I've only really played World. I played a little bit of 3 way back when, but I haven't played a lot of any of them aside from World. I Divine Cybermancy, as I mentioned, I've played this game like 30 times because I had no internet for 3 weeks. Or was it 3 months? I don't remember. Internet was really bad for 3 months, borderline unusable. It was completely out for 3 weeks. I probably get within the top 5 of I Divine Cybermancy speedruns, assuming that the times haven't changed since I last looked. That was like a year ago though, so they might have found some new tech. The game's a bit of a mess as far as coding goes. Music. DDBY, known for Cafe de Toho. It's what we're listening to now. It's one of the things that I listen to the most. I normally have it on in the background while I'm either grinding at stuff or just on my TV because it's really relaxing. Iosis, I also do a lot of Toho music, most known for Cherno's Perfect Math Class. There's other particular song. Alright. I don't know, does Battle Block have a story mode? Also, my model is janking out again because my eye is turning too far. I need to bring up Chatty again so that I don't have to turn my head that far. But the other song that they made that is possibly a bit more famous in certain circles is called Shining My Star Z. It's hilarious for me to play it for people, especially if they know what it's from. It's sort of like wearing a Zone shirt to a convention. No one can call you out on it, otherwise they reveal that they know. Real. I suppose I should have paired with Vocaloid because they do a lot of like the similar songs. A lot of what they do that I know best is like covering stuff. If I've heard a Real song, odds are I can't ever listen to another version of the song because most of the time it's always a song that has a male vocal in it, and there's just dead air where that is, at least in my ears. Delusion Tax is one of the ones that's most infamous for that. It just feels empty in some of the areas that there's supposed to be male vocal in my head. Nanahira. Facebook. It's like the meme song for anyone that does rhythm games, or one of the meme songs. Gamilia. I mostly know him through Ghost. Apparently he's done a song called like Phantom or something that's also infamous in rhythm game memeing. Shibayan, most known for Toho music, Vocaloid already mentioned. I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but I am. Garnadelia. I only know a few of their songs, but I mean, they're among the few songs that have a place in my heart just because of some of the memories associated with around when I was listening to them. Kara, I think is how that's pronounced, or Kara. I don't know. I always pronounce it Kara in my head because I knew someone with a name spelled like that, but I'm not entirely sure. Step is the main song that I know from them. Independent. Ken Ashcorp. Probably the person that I've been listening to longest on this list. Maybe Neanners is up there. I don't remember. Neanners did a lot of songs that showed up in like Vine compilation things way back in the day, so could be either. Stringstorm. Most of the stuff that I've listened to from them is their idol stuff. It's... I don't know. It might be the fact that I've, like, listened to a lot more stuff in that vein that it's not as great as I originally thought, but, you know, I still think they're good. They're passable. Good. Even on some of them. Some VTubers, like 3 songs. Lawn. I can only ever find that they've done stuff on Nika Nika Doga as far as releasing their music. And the only song that I've really found by them is Sweet Magic, so I don't know. Richard EB, he does metal covers of songs. Human does more Japanese influenced classical, I guess is. He takes modern songs and effectively uses what you would consider like, I don't know, Dynasty era Japanese. Hayakim, I think that's how it's pronounced. He does a lot of songs that involve text-to-speech. Neanners we already went over. Zun. I mean, most of us know Zun. At least by proxy through me. The the meme of wanted to create music for games, so instead of going into the very budding game market at the time. Zun is the creator of Toho. I figured that that would be the only way that you would know who he is, through me. But he wanted to make music for games, and no one was hiring for game music makers at the time because it was very, very old. It was like 1990s, somewhere in the 90s. And no one was hiring. So he's like, all right, I'm going to figure out how to code and I'm going to make my own game so I can make music for it. And so Toho was born. And Mark, not even probably being alive at the time, already was writhing around in whatever pre-life space is considered. I don't know if there actually is a term for that. I'd assume that if there's an afterlife, there's a pre-life, though. Unless you're, like, a reincarnation believer, I guess. Western. I mean, if you're not even conceived yet, though, is the womb even considered yet? Metallica. My mother was a big fan, and thus, having listened to it for years, I was a big fan. Kansas. The number of times that I've run through Doom, listening to the best of Kansas, is probably comparable to an addiction at that point. It was like one of the things that I did the most of during high school. Marty Robbins, Dean Martin, you can thank Fallout for that to a degree. And then just expanding because my father was like, oh hey, I know who that is. And then he actually like introduced me to the actual music. Smashing Pumpkins, Queen, Bon Jovi. Smashing Pumpkins I heard on the radio once and then kind of just wound up listening to their music. Queen and Bon Jovi, that's also thanks to my mother. She listened to them a lot. Genesis, that's an interesting story, actually. During the time after my... Oh, you only know Kansas from Supernatural? Is that where it takes place, or is that... or do they actually use their music? But, effectively, after my mother's car accident, one of the days that she was allowed home for visiting during her recovery period, we heard Land of Confusion on the radio, the Disturbed version. And my father was like, oh yeah, I know this song. It doesn't sound like the version I know, but the music video for it's really good. You should check it out. So I did on the hospital computers, because they had like computers just out in the lobby that were free to use. And I wound up really liking their music and kind of listen to it to this day. Toto, everyone at the very least knows the meme. Real Big Fish. Thank you Halo 3 Skulls for introducing me to them. I don't even know if that video still exists because that was like 2006 or something when I watched that video. So if YouTube hasn't taken that down yet, I'd be surprised. I don't think I could find it when I last looked. That's, confusing. You'd figure that if they're gonna, like, repeat a song, that they'd either have whatever band that they're going create a song for it, or have, like, a designated theme song. I mean, The Walking Dead, if I remember correctly, just had random country folk songs or whatever it was for their, like, season endings, but, like, it was different every time, so they had an excuse, I guess. I don't know what they do these days. Cake. One of the main reasons that I was kind of irritated with Spotify, my favorite song by Cake, called Long Time, is not on it. They have, like, 4 songs from the album that it's in. I don't pay for Spotify anymore, and I don't use it because it was expensive and I wasn't using it after Twitch hammered down on copyright, but they do good songs. Andrew WK, Hellsing Ultimate Abridged is where I was introduced to him from, and I don't listen to a lot of his music, but what I do listen to I like a lot. And I actually listened to one of his songs just before this because it's associated with a video that I like. Isolated songs. I couldn't really think of anywhere else to put these. And in some of their cases, they're by multiple different people, so it didn't really work. And in other cases, they're just single songs, and I don't know anything about the people that made it. Racing into the Night. It's a banger, but the video is depressing, and it's apparently got, like, some very depressing lyrics, and I'm not entirely sure if I can talk about the actual topic of the song on Twitch, because it's in the very dark gray area. Path of the Raging Demon. My absolute favorite song from Senran Kagura Bon Appetit. It's kind of the only song that I've really played on there more than twice. Bubble, Yakuza 0's opening, which I'm still sad is not in the official release for any of the English versions, if I recall correctly. But it's easy to... especially on PC, it's easy to fix it. Space Asshole, it's apparently associated a lot with Space Station 13. I don't know where that started from, but it's like a Red Faction guerrilla song or something like that. It's really good, and it was the song that I used for the opening of all of the Red Faction Guerrilla streams. I don't know if I did. Mata Ashita. It's a collage song. Or medley? I don't know what the term is for it when you take, like, a bunch of songs and overlap them over each other. Medleys are kind of separated-ish. Glorious Morning and Oh Happy Days, both songs that I found through, actually space, I think they're both space-themed, Seth's videos, endings. Metal Gear Rising soundtrack, if you somehow haven't heard it by now, especially with the memes being back, I have no idea what to say to you. How's the weather under that rock, I guess? Monogatari soundtrack, there are a lot of good songs. And Mukjiba, it is, oddly enough, a very difficult song for people to, like, keep up for some reason. People like to bring it up for, like, days, delete whatever they made from it, and then bring it back. It's like some sort of cryptid of a song. Anime. I don't watch a lot of that these days because I've been focusing on a lot of other things. Little Witch Academia, Cowboy Bebop, Soul Eater, Ghost in the Shell. Little Witch is something that I actually didn't watch truly until like 4 years after I found out about it, because I didn't watch it when I originally found it on Netflix, and I eventually found out about it through AMV like 4 years later. Then I finally got around 2 years after that to actually watching it, and it became one of my favorite series. I've drawn Susie like 6 times and published drawings of her like 3 times. If I were to say that I don't like the show, I'd probably be a blatant liar at this point. Cowboy Bebop, it's a classic. It's one of the first that I ever watched. The absolute first, I believe, was Ghost in the Shell. Thanks to my father, if I remember correctly. And now I own more Ghost in the Shell than I know what to do with half the time. Girls in Panzer. It's a really good series. If you like tanks, or just like slice of life anime girls, it's got a little bit of both. I don't think I've ever actually published something, but I've drawn Katyusha a few times. And it's one of the few things that has actually sort of driven me toward drawing vehicles to a certain degree. It's kind of been a passing hobby, but straight edges and lines trigger my perfectionism, and I never get very far. Violet Evergarden. I didn't watch this until after everyone else in my family, aside from my mother, did, and we only didn't really have my mother watch it because we weren't sure that she would freaking be able to stop crying for the next 4 hours after that, because she, like, really feels emotion in media. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Watched it. It was like one of the first things that got me back into anime years ago. Toradora and K-On! Are probably the 2 most recent ones that I've watched, even though they're pretty old. Actually, I think Toradora was the last thing I watched before I stopped like watching stuff on Netflix for a while. Howl's Moving Castle, everyone knows it. Steam Boy, less people know, but it is really good, and I recommend it. It is something that I used to watch all the time, and it has a lot of interesting technology designs in it. It is probably one of the closest things that I'd consider to what original steampunk was. before it got, adopted by teenagers and Party City and became nothing but gears on goggles and that's a rant for another day. VTubers, also known as the How I Got Pulled into the Rabbit Hole section. We already know Kisa, Juniper, and Daya. I did mention ABBA for a hot second because, basically tying through it, Wolsk knows ABBA, who knows Kisa. I met ABBA and Kisa at TwitchCon. They are pretty cool. ABBA is streaming more sparingly as of recent. Wolsk, like a lot of this, I used his debut thing as sort of like a figuring out how to set up a sort of comprehensive how do I want to do this kind of thing. Narp, he's also recently become a VTuber. He's a Fumotuber. He never actually did a debut. One moment. His is one of the more interesting ones. He actually has his eyes and his mouth separated. The mouth is actually on the Fumo, and the eyes are on the Kane that is holding the Fumo. It's a very interesting one, and where I don't think that I'd ever wind up doing it, I really do like the sort of separation idea. Gura, I actually haven't really watched Gura, but I've watched some clips and I've seen art, and I don't know. If I were to watch a main, like, HoloLive VTuber, it'd probably either be Gura or Aqua, and Aqua's pretty much only because I know her from Azure Lane. Snuffy, despite the clips, is actually a pretty alright, chill person. I don't really know, like, a whole lot really to describe a lot of these, because, I mean, they're people. They have avatars that represent them, but, to actually go into detail on all of them would kind of take all day. Like, I mean, Wolsk had an entire, 2-hour-long debut thing that was just describing bits of him. Dottie, someone that I only recently started following, but hasn't streamed in a while. She is, I think, the only VR chat-related VTuber that I still am any way associated with. And she's been focusing mostly on her model-making work rather than streaming, which I can respect. Goals! Because people have those. Or so I'm told. Collab and make new friends and expand my circles. I mean, this is kind of self-explanatory. It would be cool to, have more people that I can talk to, and that kind of are in the same boat as me of going along the path of, learning this stuff. No, you're not. Also, my tracking is bugging out again. It might be the light's changing as the sun's going down, so I might need to recalibrate again soon as the light changes. Continue to work through my anxiety through said collabs and friends. I didn't explain this earlier in the history of my streaming, but one of the main reasons that I decided to stream is because I had a social worker that I talked to, and she effectively said, yeah, my best advice is for this, if you don't want to have to take meds for it, exposure therapy is pretty good about it, and it's actually helped quite a bit. I still have my moments where, if it's a sort of confrontation thing. I'm not great with it, but I've gotten better at being able to, like, talk to people that I don't know very well yet. Continue improving my art and do more art streams with the model. It will definitely be more frequent because VTube Studio takes a lot of CPU resources. So in order to actually, like, use the model, I need to either play more lower end games or do art streams. For once, my bottleneck is not my internet that's causing me to, like, need those things. But I don't actually have a problem with it because I have options of doing other things alongside it instead of being forced to only do the things and burning out on said things because they're the only options I have. Have merch that I can be proud of. I need to move this again. So I have made merch in the past. I had something for my YouTube thing. It was a shirt of dubious quality. That was an idea that I had from an ex-friend. I was originally going to do other colors for it and whatnot, but I never did. And I kind of just dropped it. And since I like merch and like art and whatnot, it's something that I want to be able to, like, if it were a print or something, I'd want to be like, yeah, I could hang this on my wall, and I'd be happy with looking at it. Or a shirt where I'd be like, yeah, I'd feel fine going out and actually wearing this, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a cool shirt, where'd you get it? Oh, yeah, I made this. Extra thanks. Oh, great. Freaking gotta... Nave the Fish. Mark. He's right there. The last person that talked. He was, like, one of the final straws as far as, like, me finally deciding to crack down and get to work on this. He also gave input and, along with pretty much everyone on this side, gave, like, advice and whatnot as far as, like, input on progress. The only person that, out of people that aren't on Twitch, wanted their stuff put it is Suki. She wanted her Twitter as well, because I asked an artist friend who does Fox Girls. Everyone down here is friends that are already on Twitch, who are also in the background. Seraph, who has been absolutely accepting of me, like, constantly basically nerding out about my work, and hasn't complained at all, despite the fact that I actually felt kind of like, oh, is this sounding like plugging? I don't like this, and it's. But I felt excited about it, and I wanted to, like, share and whatnot. And Crow is one ice cream. The same circles as Seraph. He's also been listening and giving. I mean, he hasn't given, like, he didn't get previews, so he didn't give a whole lot of, like, input on the thing. But he's also been quite supportive, and he also gave me a opening for putting Monster Hunter into the background. which is probably one of the things that I am going to wind up like sort of animating to fit the style more. Maybe. The faux fox figurine look, something I kind of like. Crow, the King of Kung TM registered trademark. He's a good friend. Mostly one of the two people that I've spoken most about, like Warhammer and 40k with. And actually, Mark was part of one of the conversations because it was during a Final Fantasy XIV thing. Pigeon, he's our Toho representation for here. And I think the only person that's not in, like, our time zone region. Because he's over in Europe. But it is a lot of Toho fan games. And he has given his support as well as far as when I was showing off stuff. Also, you can now see this little thing down here because I'm not covering it anymore. This side is for people that I sort of used as references that didn't go into like the direct inspirations sort of thing. Keese is the only one that was seen before now. Basically, Keese was one of the few people that I felt was... how do I put this? At a level where it wasn't as intimidating to, like, mention, even though I wanted to, like, skirt around it a bit to, like, try and not sound like I was plugging or anything. But she gave, like, positive words and inspiration for the whole thing. Dragon I only used for basically their video on how to, like, cut up the avatar and whatnot so that I could actually, like, get it to move and whatnot. Saya was the one that I watched, like, for most of the info. It was, like, the video series that I watched in order to get, like, all the prerequisites and all the rigging portions, the deformers, the physics, all that other jazz. And then for, like, more of the refined stuff, like, the mouth. Like, especially the mouth was a lot of, Kira. Because she had, like, this template that gave a, like, 9x9 on different mouth shapes. And even though my tracking's not good enough to, like, sense it as well, and it's kind of losing it because I'm talking faster than the camera can pick up, I think. But, also, the reason that I have a bit of extra movement up and down that is actually visible, even though my camera can't sense it because it might be a bit too high. I might need to find a better place to put the camera for, like, later use, because it's a bit higher than I think it wants to be. Tags. Apparently people do this stuff. One moment. Alright. Hashtags. Nasu Art Maya. Kinda easy. This one was weird, but I just kind of... I don't know, it feels like it's a really long tag though, so I don't know, it might change later. Naslud Art Maya. I don't know. But it's what I had. I couldn't really think of anything better at the time. Fan names? I don't freaking know. Just a what? Tags. Emoji. Apparently people do emojis. That's the thing, Wolsk, like, had NSF Wolsk, and then he couldn't think of anything for the safer work one, so he kind of just, like, removed the N for it, so it was SF Wolsk. I mean, the emoji's obvious, even though it means that, oh no, I won't be able to be put on my least favorite platform ever. Apparently, while I was looking for an actual PNG for this, I found out that apparently Instagram has, like, banned the eggplant emoji because of it. Because of the implications, which kind of annoys me as to the implications on it. But yeah. It's obvious. I am the eggplant boy. I am Japanese eggplant. FAQ. I don't remember how many pages there are of this. Several. What do I do? Do art. I do tabletop. I'm mostly a player as of recent due to life things, and also because disagreements with certain players and ex-players. So I haven't DM'd in like 2 months, but I do tabletop. The completion project, obviously, and Syncope is kind of like a writing thing in itself, especially since I plan on expanding it for, like, actual Nasu lore stuff. This is the main question, and one of the leading things that led to the creation of this, because this was normally a question associated with, oh, does that mean that you're a VTuber? Little Nasu over here. I also have the original thing that I used to reference that in my GIFs. It's up in there. He's a little faster than she is, but it was basically the, oh, that's... But I basically used that during art streams to cover layers, because I named them stupid things. Any planned collabs? No. I don't have any plans, really, yet. One day I will get Seraph to join me in Terraria. Mark my words. One day. As my rig completely spazzes out and... He has been marked since I first mentioned it. It's a meme at this point. Wolsk, it would be pretty neat. We're mutuals on Twitch, so it's not impossible. He's still in that sort of gray area that I feel as if it would kind of just sound like coattail writing, and I'm not a fan of that. That's also why, like, people like Narp and Kisa and Juniper are like, no, I don't plan on in the immediate future. It would be cool, but I don't really have plans to. But, like, it would be cool to be, like, on Kisa's Tea Show and, like, be able to talk to someone that, like, inspired me to do this stuff in the first place. This portion of it, anyway. At the time that I made this, I didn't actually have, like, anyone that was, like, in the possibly even, but, I mean, running through a lot of the times that I was sharing that I was going to do this, there's been several people that have followed and have retweeted and whatnot that seem like they would be kind of cool to collab with, depending on what they, like, what games they have as available options, or maybe even just, like, chatting and whatnot. It'd be kind of cool. FAQ just continuing. Favorite character from X? Oh, yeah, right. Thanks, past me. But yeah, as I stated, from Little Witch Academia, Susie, and Constans is also up there. Toho, Flan, Patchy, most of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Katyusha from Girls in Panzer. There's probably like several others, but without like specific shows, I don't have any idea off the top of my head. Is it complete, and how often will it be used? This has kind of been sort of mentioned a couple times throughout this. No, it is not complete. I'm using the lore excuse of, yes, I removed my legs for this, but there are no legs for this, even this model. Luckily, that is actually the lore thing, that I can remove my legs, but... I actually do already have, like, the want to expand and learn cybernetics, so I can, like, expand it even further. Like I said, though, VTube Studio is very CPU intensive, and even with, like, some of the rigging jank, I'm probably going to use it a bit more sparingly. I don't know what most VTubers either use for their model or what they wind up, if they have like a 2 CPU or a 2 computer setup or what, but it'll mostly be for art streams and like maybe just chatting streams. I had a friend that said that this is probably going to lead to a lot more just chatting streams, because apparently it's going to just, like, according to them, magically just open a wormhole of everyone swarming around me because I'm prime e-boy real estate somehow. I don't know. But it's mostly going to be art streams. Maybe when I feel like it for, like, smaller things. I don't exactly plan on doing, aside from tonight, any real media sharing things, but I do kind of want to do, like, watching some things that I've had on the back burner tonight when I get tired, if it's, like, still within the time frame that I want to have tonight's stream go. Fan art and the like. Yes, I actually have fan art. It is very much not Twitch safe. It is a gender bend. It is the first fan art I ever received. It is very weird to be like, everyone's like, oh yeah, I got this fan art. I'd love to show it off, and it's great and whatnot. And it's like, yeah, I have a few fan arts. The first fan art that I ever got, I cannot show to like 90% of people because they'd be like, oh, why is it? It's like only a pinup, but still. It's not Twitch safe. Apparently, this is the end. Apparently, I opened the box for chat questions, because I didn't plan questions very deeply. It likes to tilt a lot. Also, I probably missed my favorite song in this, considering how long this has been going. I am almost curious as to what the question is, but knowing you, if I start guessing, I'm going to wind up being the one in trouble for it. Because I always think it's worse than what it actually is. Oh, there's the drinking jank. Everyone's favorite part of every model. I love when it loses tracking of my eyes and I just look like I'm outright done with everything already. That's a difficult one. Like, especially if you go into, like, subgenres. I don't know what, like, a lot of my genres are considered. Like, if I go overall, I probably go with, like, rock, because it's... That also is, like, a really, like, big umbrella to fit everything under. Also, apparently this doesn't close out on its own when I click on it. Now the question is, if I close this, I close this, I bring this up, and I... That's the calibration stuff. Recalibrate that. With the lighting changes, it's acting up. Wrong thing again. But I have two different versions of this. I still have the old version of this. Is this gonna show up? You know what, that's fine. I'm only gonna use this for a couple seconds anyway. But I have this version. And then I have the version with everyone, with all the Easter eggs and all the peoples again. Also, this, like, little watermark is, like, really easy to wind up just cutting out. It turns out, because it doesn't actually cross over the main area that the model would actually be. To a certain degree, I kind of feel bad about that, but, like, I don't know. I think the recalibration wound up, like, messing it up more a bit. A little... I got a lot of stuff on this. Let me just hide this again. Also, if she was, like, a little bit higher, she would be, like, perfectly running along the side of that. That is a difficult one. Dolphins are cool. Various cetaceans, whales. Probably the thresher shark. I don't know why, but it's always been, like, my favorite shark. And as far as I know, they don't have any, how do I put this? Negative, things associated with them. Like most aquatic mammals do. Man, why is the calibration like... really screwing up right there? I don't know why. Dolphins, seals. They're mean. Even, like, well, I guess that technically orcas and whatnot are, like, Like, toothed whales are considered in the same family as dolphins in most cases, so... I don't think that toothed whales wind up becoming out of dolphin relative territory until they get, like, up to the sperm whale. Sperm whales are cool, though. Fighting giant squid and whatnot way down below. Why it wants to mess with my mouth like that. I mean, the mouth thing's probably because of facial hair messing with it. About 2 hours. Yeah, why are you... Maybe it might be shadows being cast that's causing it? I don't know. Bring this back up. Close this.